Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today, after all of the chaos that has unfolded with the European Super League over the last week or so, it's now finally time to get back to some regular content, and what better place to restart than with a football alphabet video. Now, I'm well aware that I did the clubs whose names begin with O video a while back, I think it was about a month ago now, so it's about high time that I did the best players whose surnames begin with the letter O, thus completing the second part to the football alphabet segment for this particular letter. If you've missed any of the episodes thus far, of course the playlist link is in the description, and if you are new around here, hit the subscribe button, and of course if you enjoy the content, hit the like button as well. And without any further ado, let's have a look at my Hall of Fame of the best players whose surnames begin with the letter O. Number 1. Jan Oblak. In terms of goalkeeping fundamentals such as keeping the ball out of the back of the net, positioning at crosses and controlling their penalty area, there may be none finer in world football at the moment than Jan Oblak, who has arguably become Slovenia's greatest ever player despite being aged just 28. Born in 1993, he started out his career at Olimpia Ljubljana, where the starting goalkeeper for them at the time, Robert Volk, noticed Oblak's prodigious talents early on, and even ceded his spot in the starting 11 so that Oblak could get more game time, despite being aged only 16 at this point. Benfica's flawless scouting system picked him up in 2010, although he went out on a series of loans, and it was only midway through the 2013-14 season that he started to play regularly for the Lisbon outfit. Even though he would only play 25 games for them, with the vast majority of them coming during the second half of the 2013-14 season, Atlético Madrid took a chance on him and signed him in 2014 for €16 million, making him the most expensive goalkeeper in La Liga history. I think it's fair to say he's been worth every single penny, or cent if you rather. Providing the foundations for the most solid defence in La Liga over the past 7 years, Oblak's record of clean sheets to games is phenomenal, as in June 2020 he achieved his 100th clean sheet in La Liga after just 182 games, breaking a nearly 50-year-old record by exactly 40 games. It did take him a season to adjust to life in Spain, but from 2015 he became a regular in the Atlético Madrid goal, and his smart reflexes, agility and assurance between the sticks have helped Atlético become a real force, or sustain their force, in the Spanish and European game. Despite club trophies mostly eluding him thus far, barring a Europa League in 2018, he has won the Zamora trophy for the best goalkeeper in Spain on 4 separate occasions, all coming consecutively between 2016 and 2019, although it looked as though Atletico would steamroll La Liga this season with Oblak at the heart of it, but as a result of a slip in form in recent weeks, Barcelona and Real have caught up, and it may mean that the Slovenian's titleless spell in Spain may be set to continue. Number 2. Michael Owen. He may well be the epitome of cliched and awful punditry on BT Sport nowadays, but make no mistake about it, Michael Owen was a world-class player who had such a rough time with injuries that prevented him from becoming an all-time great. Born in 1979, he joined Liverpool's youth ranks as an 11-year-old in 1991, and he made his debut for them 6 years later, scoring in a final day defeat against Wimbledon. A frighteningly quick striker who could tie defenders in knots and shoot with unerring accuracy, it was during the 1997-98 season that he really made his mark on the English game, joint winning the Golden Boot and being awarded the PFA Young Player of the Year award for that season. Bear in mind, he was only aged between 17 and 18 during the course of that season. At the 1998 World Cup, he announced himself on the global scale after a phenomenal solo run and strike against Argentina in the round of 16, one of 40 goals he would score for the England national team, before winning another Premier League Golden Boot in 1998-99. However, during that season, he suffered a hamstring injury that would continue to plague him for the rest of his career and ultimately deny us of a truly special player at his true peak, but it didn't stop him from guiding Liverpool to a cup treble in 2001 and winning the Ballon d'Or that very year. He never failed to hit double figures for the Reds in the league, but he was always beset by niggling injuries which forced him to readapt his game somewhat, and in 2004, Rafa Benitez sold him to Real Madrid. His time in Spain wasn't as bad as some people make out, as he was Real's second top scorer behind Raul that season, but they doubled their money on him the year after they'd signed him when they sold him to Newcastle for about £16 million, where the Toon Army were excited to see him partner up with Alan Shearer. Unfortunately, he'd suffered 2 serious injuries, one to his metatarsal and one to his ACL, which essentially ruled him out for 1.5 years, and during Newcastle's relegation battle in 2009, he downed tools and refused to play in their crucial final game against Aston Villa, which they went on to lose to subsequently be relegated to the Championship. Surprisingly, he earned a move to Manchester United that very summer, where he mostly played a bit part role, but still found time to score a 97th minute Manchester derby winner and earn himself a Premier League winners medal in 2011, but the injuries had destroyed him completely by this point, and in 2013, after a move to Stoke didn't go as planned, he announced his retirement from the game. Number 3. Raymond Aurelio. My rogue call for this particular video shouldn't really be that rogue at all, as Raymond Aurelio was one of the finest pre-war players, with his agility on the ball, crossing ability and eye for goal, allowing him to play anywhere across the forward line with equal aptitude. Born in 1901, Aurelio's career began at Independiente, where he would win 3 amateur league titles in 8 years, whilst also netting over 100 goals for the club, primarily playing as a winger, in an era where such numbers for wingers were almost non-existent. However, Italy used his status as an Oriundi, an Argentine with Italian heritage, to lure him to the country, and Aurelio immediately changed his nationality from Argentinian to Italian for footballing purposes, and it proved to be a wise move. He spent 7 years with Juventus, during which time the old lady truly asserted themselves as a dominant force in the Italian game, as they won 5 straight Scudetti between 1930 and 1935, with Aurelio's forward play key to their success. His most prominent displays would come for his adopted nation at the 1934 World Cup, which was hosted in Italy at Mussolini's controversial request, and although it is highly likely, if not set in stone, that chicanery was involved in Italy reaching the final, Aurelio certainly delivered on the pitch, and especially in the final. With Czechoslovakia having taken the lead in the 71st minute, a chance came for Aurelio when he received the ball on the edge of the box about 10 minutes later, before swiveling on the ball to dumbfound his marker and fire a right-footed shot past the goalkeeper to tie the game up. Italy would go on to win the game 2-1, and Aurelio would have his World Cup winners medal, and apparently the next day he tried to recreate the astounding goal that he'd scored in front of the press, but after 20 failed attempts, he gave up. He left Italy in 1935, playing for a variety of clubs in South America before retiring in 1943, by which point his reputation in Italian football was irrefutable, even if he did abscond before he had a chance to be called up for his national service. Number 4. JJJ Kotcher. The man's so good that they named him twice. JJJ Kotcher was one of those players who enticed you to go and watch a football match, as you had no idea just quite what tricks he would pull off or what he was capable of when the ball was at his feet. Born in 1973, he was always seen with a football to feet as a child, and his talents were recognised by Enugu Rangers, who snapped him up, but after going on holiday to Germany in 1990, a friend of his recommended Borussia Neunkirchen, who was sufficiently impressed by Kotcher to sign him up. 2 years later, he moved on to Eintracht Frankfurt, where in his first season he scored a ridiculous goal that saw him beat several Bayern Munich players twice, constantly delaying when to shoot until the opportunity to slot at home arose, leaving a trail of Bayern Munich defenders in his wake. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it after you're done with this, because it is absolutely amazing. As you may have gathered, Kotcher was unquestionably a flair player who primarily played as an attacking midfielder, with his close control, ability to jink through defences with his famous feint skill, and collection of tricks that can rival, and probably better, anyone who has played the game, leading him to be recognised as one of the greatest Nigerian footballers of all time. However, after stints in Turkey with Fenerbahce and France with PSG, where he became the most expensive African footballer of all time, he shocked the footballing world by signing for ambitious Bolton Wanderers in 2002, who was slowly assembling a squad which could compete for the European places. He was made captain in 2003 and lit up the league with numerous eye-catching displays, but Bolton failed to build upon what he, and many others who have played alongside him, had laid down, leading him to describe his time there as a waste. He left for Qatar in 2006 before ending his career with Hull City in 2008. Number 5. Mesut Özil. An assist king when on top form, but also a player who can come across as languid and uninterested, Mesut Ozil is one of the most divisive footballers in Premier League history, but his achievements in the Premier League, and indeed elsewhere, cannot be underestimated. Born in 1988, Ozil went through a variety of youth teams before settling at Schalke in 2005, and he broke through into the first team the next year. However, in January 2008, he rejected the club's offer of a new contract and moved to Werder Bremen, where he established himself as a creative spark, lighting up the Bundesliga, contributing no fewer than 32 assists in 2.5 seasons with them. His performances at the 2010 World Cup made Europe's elite sit up and take notice, and it was Real Madrid who were the ones to snap him up for €15 million, and he more than lived up to his billing, scoring a half-decent 27 goals in 159 games, but he also set up a laughable 81 goals across 3 seasons at the Bernabeu, with his vision and creativity allowing the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema to flourish. Despite stating that he wanted to spend the rest of his career in Madrid, the Spanish club decided that they didn't need him anymore, and they sold him to Arsenal in 2013 for £42 million, a move which CR7 himself publicly criticised. Although Ozil's performances in his first 2 seasons in North London were very much hit and miss, it was in 2015-16 when he came into his own, finishing just 1 assist off the league record of 20 set by Thierry Henry in 2002-03 and since equalled by Kevin De Bruyne last season. From then on though, he developed a reputation amongst some of the Gunners faithful for not turning up in the games that mattered and being distinctly lazy throughout, which tarnished his relationship with the Gunners as fans. But in January 2018, when it looked like as though he would leave, he signed a £350,000 a week deal. But in hindsight, it wasn't a very good decision. Ozil's performances didn't improve, and he was left out of Mikel Arteta's Premier League and Europa League squads for the current season, meaning that the club were essentially chucking £350,000 a week down the drain. In the January transfer window, he cancelled his contract and moved to Fenerbahce, where he intends to play for a while to come, but regardless of what happens next, the World Cup winner should be remembered as one of the best attacking midfielders of the early 2010s, and his decline shouldn't get in the way of what a magnificent player he really was. That just about wraps up today's video on the best players whose surnames begin with the letter O. As I said at the start, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and you can ring the little notification bell to the side of the subscribe button so you never miss a video and get notified whenever I upload one straight away. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.